Turn me.
And we're live.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode 43 of Pillar Talk coming at you. This episode is brought to you by Joshy Boy Edit. If you want to get your wedding, your music video, your life captured and do a sweet edited video, hit up Joshy Boy Edit. You can go to joshyboyedit.com, and on Instagram is Joshy Boy Edit. This is episode 43 of Pillar Talk, and on the guest we have today is Chris Daher. What's up, Chris?
Hi guys, thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, tell us a little bit about what you do.
So I am a radio personality out of Toledo, Ohio. I've been in the radio industry for a little over 11 years now. I am also known as Peapod. I host a morning show on the rock station in Toledo, 100.7 The Zone. When I am not trying to entertain people on their morning drive in between Nickelback songs, I am also host a music podcast called the On the Radar Podcast that features music and interviews and studio performances from across the country, and we talk from a Midwestern perspective.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So how you said 11 years you're a radio personality?
Yes, sir.
So is that what started the podcast? How old's the podcast?
The podcast is now going into its fourth year. Starting in February. We're taking January off because we had a hell of a 2020, and we decided to take kind of January off. My birthday's in January.
Right.
You know, my wife's birthday's in January, so it's just like it's nice to just kind of ease up a little bit. But I work with 4 phenomenal local area recording studios. When there was not a global pandemic going on, and we bring artists in that are traveling through maybe local area acts. We talk to them about music and life and whatnot. We have them perform a couple studio performances, and then we put it out on podcast platforms. But now we also do little interviews online, and then just kind of feature music and kind of get into the why of everything. But I've always been infatuated with music, and that's how I kind of started the podcast. It was a local radio show that we were highlighting local acts like a couple of years ago. Like I want to say, so I started the podcast in 2017. So like from 2015 to 2016 on 100.7 The Zone, we did like a local radio show just highlighting local music or like artists that are coming into town. And then we decided once the radio station went away for a hot minute, I decided to take it as a podcast. And now I work with 4 great local area studios and do work at home and, just kind of feature music of all shapes and sizes and just kind of talk about and, highlight not only artists in the Midwestern areas, but just like acts that, have some sort of connection with here, because the Midwest is filled with great men and women who work very hard and are on the grind and want to share with, their music and their art with everybody. And a lot of people don't realize what they have. And like a lot of these artists are on the come up, maybe newly signed. They're starting their musical careers. They're right on the cusp of something big, and we like to just kind of cherry pick them and kind of talk to them before
give them a little boost.
Just have them a platform, because it's so hard to get platforms for people. So that's what we do. Yeah, we thoroughly enjoy it.
What's your favorite genre music?
I mean, I'm a big fan of just, the rock, a lot of like, post-hardcore, a little bit of metalcore, a little bit of post-rock instrumental stuff. But I'm a purveyor of all music of shapes and sizes. I'm more than happy to listen to anything once. And if it's not for me, I just go, it's not for me. But I can appreciate anybody who puts out any kind of music on any level, just because they're doing something that I cannot. So, or I don't have the skill for it as such. I'm a good talker. It's about the cusp of it. So I decided to, we highlight great men and women who work hard and perform.
So with COVID, do you have to do the radio show from home?
Well, I'm glad you said that. That most of our people in our studios are from home. I'm one of the few lucky people that could still work from our studio, because I also do some stuff on the back end. When I'm not on air, I'm part of our promotions and digital teams. So I handle like websites and social media and help execute, contests and things like that. Set all that stuff up. A lot of the boring stuff that a lot of people don't realize that radio has. But I'm one of like the few people that's allowed in the building. A lot of most of my coworkers or whatnot have been broadcasting from home and just sending stuff up with technology and the internet and the series of tubes or whatever. And we that's how a lot of people do their shows as of right now. If I didn't do what I did and all the extra stuff that I do and all the fill-ins and whatnot, I'd probably be at home just like something here. I'm in my actually home office while we're recording this with a microphone and just kind of talk between songs and try to be entertaining.
Right. Is it like so how long in between each song do you gotta go?
It really depends on the station and whatnot. So my station that I'm predominantly on, I say I talk in between 20 minutes, and my breaks is anywhere from like a minute and a half to 2 minutes of just content and talking about stuff. If I have a guest on, then it goes a little bit longer. But you don't want to talk too long on radio. Because there's the big people will end up tuning out, and people come for the music and they stay for the content.
Right.
That's why it's great about podcasting. It's because it's more a little bit long form. It's a little less structured. You can literally talk about anything and talk with anybody about anything on any length of time.
How do you know what to talk about for 2 minutes?
I get like an interesting story or like a local story and just kind of quickly cover about what's going on. And then I, share my 2 cents, my anecdotes about something and go into that. Like, for like today, like, on like some news, like I talked about, national news, like Johnson & Johnson, is seeking FDA approval after January, after their final phase of testing for another vaccine. And I said, hey, I think this is awesome. Global virus that 1 year ago we had no idea about, and now we have potentially 3 vaccines going to be out there, helping people. I think that's awesome. And then I joke about, hey, give me all vaccines in a shot glass. Let me take that, and then let me do a whiskey chaser, and let me be on my way. I want to see my homies again. I want to see my friends. Dude. I want to see shows.
Yeah, we're homie, or we're humans, dude. We take shots with our fucking.
No, vaccine shots. Fuck that. No, shot glass shots. Yeah. Let's go.
Oh, yeah, shots. That's what I'm saying. We're human. We take shots of alcohol with our fucking.
Hell yeah.
With our medication, dude.
This is America. We take shots with our shots.
Well, we chase a shot with a shot. So how did you land the radio gig?
So I'm originally actually from Akron, Ohio, which is, for those who don't know, is about 2.5 hours southeast from the greater Toledo area. And I've always been infatuated with the music. 2, I love the idea of, you take everything away when it comes to like a message. A lot of television, obviously, and, like YouTube and whatnot. It's all about the look of everything. And being a guy that, hey, I don't have 6-pack abs. My wife thinks I'm hot. That, that's about it. Like, I struggle with self-confidence issues, but I love the idea of getting a message out there. So you strip all that away and you just have the message. You just hear the voice, and you can hear, the inflections and the tones that I'm talking about. That's what I feel like it's important. So I always was enjoyed by that. My grandfather, who was one of my biggest influences in my life, he was also in radio as well. I think he indirectly influenced me getting into radio. But I came to Toledo in 2004 for college, and I graduated with a bachelor's in communications at 2009. And then 6 months out of there, I've been in the radio industry with Cumulus Media, which is the second biggest corporate radio chain in America. The first one being iHeart Media, formerly known also as Clear Channel for any of those radio geeks out there. And I've been there for now a little over 11 years.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's crazy. I didn't even know Peapod, bro. I don't listen to no Toledo stations. I don't think. I really
No.
listen to radio.
He's from Monroe.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm
Well, yeah. And like a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't listen to the radio. And they think that I'm going to be like super insulted. And I'm like, no, I totally understand. I mean, radio, while it's not a dead media, quote unquote, it's also a media that needs to change. And that's why I feel like in 2021, which is a weird year to say in general, to be honest. And we still don't have flying cars or food in pill form. What is this bullshit? But that in this day and age, how do you get people still interested in radio? Well, as long as you still have music and you are at least entertaining enough between the songs and what is popular, I think radio will always be there in some sort of fashion. You just got to learn how to play with the times and learn how to be on other platforms, newer platforms, your social media, your podcasts, etc.
Yeah, because when your phone dies, you definitely listen to the radio, bro.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I still listen to the radio regardless, if I was in the car or not. Now, granted, I drive, a 2008 car that doesn't have a fancy dancy radio or doesn't have like a built-in MP3 player or like
Right.
Bluetooth or whatever. It doesn't turn into a giant robot now. I think cars do that, I guess. But I still am interested in the music and the execution of all of it. Being in the industry now, I tend to now nitpick the other personalities, whether they're part of my the company I work for or competition or whatever.
Right.
I love going to other states and listening to their radio stations, and because then I hear not just necessarily the music, but just like the little in-between imaging skits and whatnot, or like the personalities and their names and their attitudes and whatnot, because I think that's interesting. And then I can apply maybe some of those tips and tricks to my craft.
Take notes from different states going through there and shit. Because I noticed that when they changed, you keep going south, they're like, hell yeah, man! I'm fucking yonder to the fucking man. I got real fucking drunk last night.
It's really interesting too, because like radio, like in Ohio, is different than radio in Michigan. That's different in Indiana, and while it is corporatized, it's still it's always interesting. It's the people that make it different. The different contests, the different people who are on. It's still a fascinating world.
Yeah, even though they're a nationwide company, doesn't mean they have to find local talent. They're not just sending motherfuckers out of fucking California to go do this shit.
Not necessarily, actually, because, due to how radio is, it's not as, there are out of market, voices and whatnot. While my station that I'm on, is a little bit lower power, it's only reaches, maybe the Metro Toledo area. And while I'm proud of that station, unfortunately, it doesn't bring in enough money in ads and revenue. So to supplement that, we have a lot of out of market voice talent. So, while I'm local and live on my morning show, the rest of the station is, with people out of market but we have enough communication with them, and we have systems and everything. And this is really pulling the curtain all the way up and show you the inner workings of radio. We help them out and tell them about, like, we got these local things going on, and you can mention some of these things, every time, so like, it's still, even though they're not here, it's still, you can still give them, you can still make them feel like they're here.
Right. Okay. That's do you have like a set list? You're not the DJ for all the songs, are you? Does somebody plays them and then
I just help execute them. I don't necessarily program that. There is when a radio station's programmed, there's kind of a skeleton of like, hey, you need to play X amount of songs, and it's all different from different genres. So like a top 40 station or like a pop hit station is different than like classic rock or country, right. So like you have a skeleton, and then from there you kind of build upon like what's popular. So like the music we necessarily are playing, like some of the bigger hits that you hear all the time that everybody complains about, saying, you're playing the same 10 songs. Well, it's because they're super popular across the board, so of course we are, and B, certain songs are being played more, and certain songs are being played less because of direct market people listening to them. So if you listen to a song so much, it shows in like ratings and streams and Billboard hits and things like that. So you are really the direct influence of the music. So you listen to, like, for example, like a Nickelback song, whatever. We'll just use that as an example because the internet likes to joke on them. But you listen to that Nickelback song so much, it rises up in the Billboard charts. It rises up on streams. It rises up on digital sales. So radio stations get that information. Go, oh, a lot more people like this song. We'll play it more, and then more people are buying into it. And it's just kind of a giant circle until it gets burned out for too long, and then it goes away for a little bit, and then just comes back once in a while, and not instead of like so often.
Right.
Yeah, by then it's ruined though.
Yeah, well, yeah. Trust me. If you are starting to get sick of a song, we on the radio side are already done with it.
Yeah.
Like, we hear it way before you will, and then we will get sick of it faster than you will get sick of it.
Wow.
So there's so much songs that I like. If I hear it again, I just want to strangle somebody. So I like to listen. I like to listen to stuff like off radio brand.
Right. Yeah. That's why I like. That's why I don't like Metallica or AC/DC, because I like classic rock, but that's just shut up, man.
Yeah.
You motherfucker.
I like
them. Like, oh, they're great, but get them out of my ear, dude.
You don't want to listen to them.
Yeah, I don't want to listen to them.
I can appreciate what they did, and in the heyday, and of course, AC/DC is one of those bands that they were great in their prime. But hearing a new song in 2020 from AC/DC in 2021 is just jarring to me. And Metallica, while they have been very successful, I'm sorry, I'm not necessarily a fan.
You haven't made enough. Go home. Spend time with your fucking kids, dude.
Well, and that's why I love to feature rising acts and whatnot for my podcast, because you can hear if you like these big name brands and big name bands, or you're sick of those big names and you want to find something a little bit in between the cracks, the unknowns a little bit. Well, you can listen to right in the local area, because there's tons of phenomenal talent.
Oh yeah.
And B, you can we like to feature some of those acts because it's hard for them, those men and women, to try to get their stuff out there. So we want to also share some of that music with all of you. So, it helps them. It's cool for us because then we get a satisfaction of people being happy of featuring other people. And then, hopefully down the road, they become a great name. Their success becomes our success, becomes everybody's success.
Yeah.
Sounds like the similar blueprint to us, to be honest.
Well, absolutely.
That's
promote
what we
the
do
brand.
too.
Yeah.
You got something going on. Let's hear it. Let's hear what you're about. Let's hear why. Let's hear who,
Does the radio station help with guests, or is that's just all your
You mean with the podcast?
No, with the with the podcast.
Okay, so for my radio show, because it's a little bit different, because I'm a morning show host, but I'm also a podcast host, and both ends, it's a little bit in the radio side. It's a little bit of combination of maybe it is an advertiser, or maybe it's someone who's doing something really cool, and I always like to feature acts that are off the beaten path, or somebody moving the needle, someone who's interesting enough. With the musicians and the podcast, that's all me. That's I do a combination of, I search for people that I personally like, or I'll get stuff from like PR groups that are pushing people that I'm part of, like PR email chains or like discussions or whatnot. Or I just like search around and see like who's doing what, who's recently signed, who's doing something interesting enough that I go, I want to talk to this person from anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour, and share their craft and everything. And and it could be, a rock artist. It could be a rap artist. It could be a metal artist. It could be a country artist. It could be somebody in between. They could play jazz. They could play the kazoo. I don't care if they're doing something interesting enough that I think people would find an interesting discussion with.
They're following a passion.
Joey,
yeah, exactly.
Do something. If you're not doing something, I don't want to talk to you. What do you say? I don't care if if you hate alcoholics, but you love heroin. I want to talk to you.
Yep.
Right.
You got to do something, yeah. And most of that music, they're playing their fucking hearts out. They're putting their heart and soul into that shit. So the music is way funner because they're really passionate about that shit.
It's it's almost like certain, and I'm not saying it's all because that's really a big broad stroke, but like you kind of hear some of the tales that when bands get big enough, you know, it's just like they have to like fit in a corporate structure, and then they have to please all the fans and whatnot. But when they're so early in, you know, when they're trying to find their sound, it's a little bit more it's a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more passion project. But like nowadays, like a lot of people make success on their own without big name corporate labels and even independent labels. I mean, there's a handful right here that are based out of, you know, the Ohio area that are like, hey, we'll help you, you know, put out your, you know, we'll help you find tour dates. We'll help you put out your merch. We'll help you put out your albums. You create the music, you give it to us, and we just help pump out through the machine. You do the art part, we'll do the business part. You know, and I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to talk to many of those acts, especially this last few years with the podcast. You know, you know, we have, you know, Tragic Hero Records out of Cleveland. You know, you got Head to Wall Records out of you know, the Columbus area. You got Face Down Records. You got In Vogue out of Findlay. You know, and there's tons of places and around, and even in the Midwest, that are, you know, pumping out and offering great guests and great musicians for. You just gotta go out your comfort zone just a little bit. I know it's scary, but you can do it.
Yep, that's the facts.
You don't got any record labels from Michigan that you work with?
I want to say that Face Down Records might be from Michigan. Don't quote me on that, but you know, I haven't. I'm sure there's been a couple of Michigan ones that I have worked with or I've had some sort of connection with at some time.
Yeah, one of them.
You know, that I can't think of right at the top of my head. But I'm always welcome to, you know, talk to people and see what they got going on. You know, they could just, you know, drop us a line in the email, social media, and just go, hey, we got these people. You interested in any of these people? And maybe, you know, 9 times out of 10, I'll probably go, yeah, I do. Let's go.
And you can't play no instruments?
No, I am not. I do have a guitar. I own a guitar, and at one point I wanted to learn how to play guitar. But
You
I just
realize how hard it was.
Well, it's not even that. It's just I've had many friends and many people tell me that, like, if you're not 100% into your instrument, whether it's singing or guitar or whatnot, if you're almost on the fence on something like that, it's going to be very hard for you to get interested. And as much as I wouldn't mind exploring that path, I don't have something in me that just that pushes me hard enough to explore that. I don't know.
You got better things to do.
Maybe you were supposed to be a drummer, bro.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what my musical passion would be if I was able to do it. But, you know, honestly, my instrument is the art of the conversation.
You know how everybody has like a private talent, like a special talent.
You're
like,
a weird.
He
talent.
can talk. Yeah,
like I can catch flies out of the air.
Yeah, like
nice.
Like super good too. Like weirdly good.
do you think if you knew, like, from when you were a kid, if you had that weird talent, that there would be a lot more, like, I don't know, like a professional fly catching tournament?
Dude,
you know,
if there was a professional fly catching tournament, I would enter. We were sitting together one time, and I go, how funny, because he knows how good I am. Almost every time I can get it. But I go, how funny would it be if I caught one between my fingers like this? And as I said that, one went in between my fingers and I caught it. And he was there to witness it.
I swear to God.
Wow.
I swear to God that happened. But there was what, like 4 flies in that room.
There was a couple flies in the room, but still.
We were getting bothered by flies. Like he was like, what if I caught, because I think you caught one of them.
Yep.
And then he was like, what if I just caught one, like, T-Rub, look. T-Rub, look. Like, dude, you fucking son of a bitch. He almost caught one with chopsticks too.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I told you I'm weirdly good at it.
He's it's definitely, but like if you knew your talent like was talking when you were a kid, like how, I mean, you kind of went to school for communications.
When did you know you wanted to do what you're doing? How about that before we get into that question?
I kind of, it was one of those things I kind of fell into it. When I originally went into college, I originally just went into engineering because I wasn't quite sure what I really wanted to do. And it's hard to explain, to a snot-nosed 18-year-old that, barely, I had social issues and, I was bullied a lot. So I wasn't super confident in anything when I did, and I chose to. So going into a whole new city, at 18 years old and trying to refine what I'm good at, it was hard. So I just kind of fell into engineering at first. And, I was a decently smart kid, A's and B's, the occasional C in high school. I wasn't like super 4.0 honor roll or anything, but I wasn't, failing out of school or anything. But when I got into college, I became overwhelmed because, engineering is fucking tough.
Very hard.
One of my best friend, he was an engineer, and I have a lot of other friends that are in those areas, and they are very intelligent people, and they their brains just work a little bit differently than mine, but I joined the University of Toledo radio station because, again, like I said, like I always enjoyed music, and I always enjoyed and always entertained by people telling stories on the radio. So right. I feel like that I think that would be pretty good. How I got to this point now, and like how I'm talking to you and how I'm conversing with you, has just been years and years and years of trial and error and just doing it and not being too scared of, being out of my share, being the weirdo, hell, I call myself a vegetable, as Peapod, which before anybody asked how I got that nickname was just a random nickname out of high school, my senior year of high school. And it just stuck, and I just love the idea of having a different name for a radio. So that's why it's not anything super interesting with that. But I kind of just fell into it, and it got to the point where I'm like, you know what, I really enjoy doing this, and I changed my major, 3 semesters in after being almost on academic suspension, almost failing out of college. And I graduated with like a 3.2 in my major, and I got a job in my field 6 months out of school, which is unheard of, especially now. Right. I worked my way up to where I'm at, and I've done it's been a lot of hard work, and it's just because I like doing it. I want to do it. Now being where I'm at, and with everything going on with the pandemic and everything, and I'm learning more and more skills to always, I always like being that Swiss Army knife of a person. So I can be on a pop station. I can do a classic rock station. I can do an active rock station. I can be on all these stations. I can also learn how to use social media properly. I know how to I'm exploring more of my graphic design work. So, I can do some of that, learn how to do that. I know how to edit audio and everything. And, and a lot of that is just, either YouTube University and looking up videos and things like that, and trial and error and learning how to do stuff like that. And, and just doing it because I like entertaining people, and I like giving back to other people. And that's like what I want to do.
Could you jump on a smooth jazz station?
Smooth jazz.
Smooth.
I mean, like I mean, hey, ladies and gentlemen, can we take it down a little bit and tell you about the smooth? It's just, I mean, it's possible if I can work at it hard enough, but my
You gotta get
energy.
deeper voice, buddy.
Yeah, I'm a loud, boisterous guy, so I kind of work on some of those stations, those rock stations, those pop stations. I did ask to be on a country station just to test out the waters, even though country music's not my forte. But again, it's that Swiss Army knife mentality of just like trying everything.
Hey, all you Southern Bells, how you doing out there?
Hi, everybody.
We got another tractor loving song here
We
for you.
got another. I think this is Jason Aldean. Yep, it's Jason Aldean, man. He's talking about his tractor and his dog, man.
You tell the old joke of country music. If you play country music backwards, you get your girl back, you get your truck back, you get your puppy back.
Oh,
Waylon
man.
Jennings.
I never heard that, but that's funny as
That
shit.
is funny.
My dad told me that. Like my dad is actually originally from Lebanon, and he came to the States at 16. And he almost went to Vietnam, and he ended up not doing it. Like he was on like one of the like last like choppers to be like taken out of the base he was staying at. And then all of a sudden they got on the horn and it's like, hey, the Vietnam War is over and everything. You don't get to send anybody over there.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. So it could have been like that close. And then he finished off his yeah. Lots of clinch in there.
Yeah,
and then he worked in like restaurants and everything. But like one of his favorite style of music is like oldies and country. And it's so weird to me. It's funny.
That is funny.
What? I mean, I
Oldies.
guess.
I like some oldies. I like Frank Sinatra and not so much Elvis. A little bit of Elvis, but not
right.
Yeah, I fucking made Elvis cry, dude. I don't give a shit about Elvis. Elvis is I don't really like. I
like singing Elvis in the shower.
really?
Yeah, because it sounds like Elvis a little bit.
Oh, have blue. That's weird. I never thought about that, dude.
That's when the best singing is, in the shower.
In the shower? Oh yeah.
Acoustics.
Sing like a fucking.
You're singing like a canary.
I mean, the ballads from Elvis, man, like they'll hit you hard in the heart. Obviously he's mega entertaining, a lot of soul, a lot of, R&B roots, a lot of early rock and roll, for Elvis, but yeah, like a lot of that, the style of music, I hate when people go like music was better back in my day. Well, music was just, it was different. Yeah. It's just, it all evolves with the times and the people and everything. You can appreciate
no more Tammy.
Right.
No.
I was married at one point, and my wedding song was like, what was it, from Fallout 3? You ever play Fallout 3?
I'm not a big video game guy, so
well, it was like a 1930s song.
Okay.
So I like everything, dude. Everything. Even there's some mumble rap I can't stand, but some I have found that I was like, oh, okay, this is okay. I'm not. What's your worst genre? What do you hate the worst? I hate 80s hair metal the worst.
I want to say, I can appreciate everything, but I want to say I will say modern country.
Oh yeah,
I'm not a big fan of. Now I can I can appreciate for what it is.
Right.
But when it comes to the country world, I like a little bit more folk. I like a little bit more singer-songwriter. I like a little bit more of the outlaw country, your southern rock, your southern country. But when it comes to modern country, it's just pop music with twangs, and it's just too much. And I just feel like there's not much. It's just not for me. And which is funny is because in Ohio and especially around here, country's a big thing. So and I mean I get it. It's cool. It's not for me. But I understand. But that's just not my. That's not what I would go to.
What if your destiny was to be the next big country star, bro?
Then that's my destiny, I guess. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, dude, come on. You'd be sponsored by John Deere, bro.
I mean, they got nice tractors. I mean, hey.
Right, you're gonna want that, dude. You're gonna want that because if you sing the country life, you're gonna have to be the country
If
life.
they give me at least 2 tractors, I'm in.
I'm
At least 2 tractors.
I need at least one lawnmower and 1 backhoe.
I mean, they'd have to write my lyrics too because I would not be able to do a fucking.
Yeah. I don't know. Talk about beers and trucks in America and women, and I just wrote 5 country songs right there.
Because like my my first song that was country guy would be like, "Look at that Southern Belle's butthole."
Southern Belle's butthole.
Yep. Southern Belle's butthole, man.
He just went right straight to butthole. Like there was no foreplay. There was no romantics. There was no dinner. Just straight to butthole.
Hey, Peapod, I'd like you to meet T-Ro.
Yep, nice to meet you.
Hey man, I respect that.
Yeah, I think that's I don't know. That's weird. I wouldn't sell out either if I was a musician. Like to where
Limp Bizkit had a album, Chocolate Starfish. We know what that was.
Yeah, okay, that was.
I mean,
they did do buttholes.
I mean, how did they make their name? Because I heard an urban legend.
Limp Bizkit sounds like a biscuit that you didn't cook all the way.
Okay, so the urban legend is what a Limp Bizkit is a circle jerk, and you jerk off on the biscuit, and the last one's got to eat it.
I thought that was...
I believe I've heard that game. I've also heard it's called just toast.
I never heard that name.
I've
Put it on a jingle.
You almost gave him a spit take, and I wanted to see that. Yeah, that was fun. That was funny.
I didn't know I was getting coded, bro.
I wouldn't be too surprised if that was true for the real. I'm sure that's like an Urban Dictionary definition of Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest.
Limp Bizkit sounds like you can't get your dick hard.
Yeah,
like, I think that's more of the idea. Yeah.
Yo, bitch, my biscuit went limp.
Yeah. like a girl walks into a to a friend's house. She's like, dude, Tyler had a fucking Limp Bizkit last night. No way, bitch. Are you serious?
It was in my mouth for a half an hour and it did nothing.
It did nothing. It was just a Limp Bizkit.
Just looking at the comics and someone just said, like, that's just foul. Like,
yeah. Oh, that's Danielle.
Oh yeah.
That's why this is at night, everybody. This is not safe for work.
This ain't Peapod's morning show. It's fucking T-Rup's night show. Where's that starfish? Oh man.
Well, I mean, like, it's really funny when you say that it's not my morning show, because like I never understood how like certain like radio shows or certain morning shows would talk about like sex so much in the morning, and like, you know, morning radio, you thinking like you're going to work or you're dropping the kids off at school and whatnot. Like you need to, you know, you can't talk about that stuff with the little kids, you know, or then they're gonna start asking you like 10,000 questions, and then you're just like, there's a conversation you're not ready to have at like 8:00 in the morning.
Right.
You just woke up driving your kid to school and they're talking about fucking blowjobs on the morning.
Yeah. Dude, like, she licked my taint, bro. Do you hear?
Yeah, then you have to explain to your kids what the taint is, and you know, or grundle. And I'm like, I don't know, man.
This is why we listen to sports radio.
Dude, my butthole is wet. I swear to God, bro.
My butthole is wet.
Dude, it's 8 a.m., bro. Drink your fucking coffee.
Why is this butthole wet, Dad?
You know why? You know why in the morning it's why they talk about sexual? People wake up with the fucking morning wood, bro.
I mean, like, I get it. I understand. Yeah. It's always just like, even if I talk about like something like that, I make sure it's like, I paint a like a little bit a nicer picture, you know, say, instead of saying sex, I say like, you know, being intimate with your partner, or like, just make it like very, very PC, very easy terms, maybe make bigger words so little kids wouldn't understand. But you know, you got to trick them.
I just bareback the fucking hooker.
we were very intimate.
Virus.
We're very intimate.
I bareback the hooker last night. Get the fuck out of here.
I made her wear a mask though. Don't worry.
She didn't- Dude, yeah, that's we went down a fucking bad wormhole on that.
That's
one.
okay. That's what we're about.
You started with buttholes. How do you go? You can't. You have to go down.
I don't know. I thought it was a funny joke, and I had a butthole, and it did, and then I just kept going.
Hey, I get it. I get it.
It's either butthole jokes or stories about trauma.
So, yeah, it's either it's one
There's
of the
no in between,
I
and
want-
sometimes they're one and the same.
Yeah,
my,
actually.
my PTSD. I shit myself one time because of my trauma.
Yeah, real
So
talk.
I mean,
Oh,
it goes hand in hand, bro.
his dad found him in the bathroom like, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
Dude, you ever watched Dumb and Dumber where the Dumb and Dumber, the second one where he's like, oh, he's shit everywhere. There's shit when he got chocolate all over everything.
see, I never saw the second one. I saw the first one.
Okay, he gets chocolate everywhere, bro. And that's when my dad walked in. I had a night terror and I shit myself.
Oh, jeez.
And it was not okay. And my
It
dad,
looked like his little brother or his big brother just coated him with fucking peanut butter.
there was
Oh.
shit. There was yeah, that's what it looked like. It was bad. There was shit in the toilet. They were on the toilet seat on me, bro. It
Jeez.
was like, dude, fucking go take a shower, bro. Get the fucking started. Yeah. So
I'm very glad that at almost 35 years of age, I've never shat myself. But I don't know. Day's still young. Who knows?
oh
But
yeah,
knock on
we'll
wood.
get there, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, once in a while, I've almost had a fart that I couldn't trust. But other than that, I've never gone full
fart.
on like I need to change everything from the bottom down.
I was at work one time. I cut grass and I went to go fart and I sharted. I had to go home. I threw the underwear in the garbage and some of the people found it.
I had an old friend back in college. I think my senior year of college. We were all just talking and we were watching a movie or whatnot, and he started laughing, and then all of a sudden he just stops and just goes, I gotta go. And he gets up and he takes the couch cushion with him, and I go, I gotta take this too, and leaves. And we're just like, what just happened? And he messages my other friend later, goes, I had to leave. I just shat myself. And I lost it. And I was just like, how does that happen? And then I've had coworkers before, like they were talking to me and they're like, they'll just stop what I'm talking about. And then like, they'll just like go and they go, oh my God, that was so close. I almost shat myself. And it's just like,
I got home. I lived with my dad at the time. I got home and my dad's like, what are you doing home from work? I go, dude, I shit myself a little bit. I have to go change. And I'm walking up the stairs and he goes, ha, you got a brown spot on your ass.
oh, no.
I said,
my
no
God.
shit, Dad. Why do you think I'm home?
He
Goodness.
laughed at you.
Yeah, that's dude, I told you.
My dad would have died.
my
My dad
dad-
would have made me work. What in your ear? What the fuck, dude? He worked with my cousin.
Well, maybe you shouldn't have shit yourself, dude. You're not getting off the clock.
My cousin was like fucking hungover as fuck one time, and he was mowing somebody's grass, and he shit himself, and it was green like liquid.
Oh.
Bro, he finished that fucking yard.
What a boss. He's just like, I'm getting paid. I'm going to do this yard, and then I'm going to go home.
He finished that whole yard, come back, and his khakis were green on the back.
Oh.
You fell in the fucking grass? He's like, no, I shit my pants. Ew, no. It was bad, but he was fucking hungover, dude. It was
Oh.
Only time I did that is I was literally hungover, puking. It was coming up both ends. Almost died.
Ooh.
Oh.
I mean, I've been sick. I've been really sick at times of like bad stomach flu or whatnot that has happened to me that you don't know where it's coming from.
Right. Should I sit on the toilet or throw up?
Yeah, exactly. Like you ever have those times that you have to sit on the toilet, but then also hold a bucket in front of you as well?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
I've
I've been there. That's not fun. It's not fun. I've never been that hungover though. I've been maybe majorly because like I got into drinking like later in my life just because, you know, I when I first got to college, I was like I was on like the party floor. So I'm like 18 years old, you know, in a whole nother city, and like I was on the party floor. Like our floor was constantly in trouble because like people were loud as shit, drunk as hell, breaking things in the in the dorms and whatnot. I was on the bad floor, so that like scarred me for like most of my college career of like not drinking. And then I just started drinking like in my mid 20s, like 25, 26. Like even on my 21st birthday, I was buying other people beer on my 21st birthday because I was just like, it wasn't for me.
I was
I was
straight edge on my 21st birthday.
Yeah, I was straight edge for like a good 5 to 7 years, and then I just realized that I'm like, because I always had like this fear of just like I don't like being not in control of myself, so like I was just like this is never for me. I never did anything. Like even to this day, like I'll have an occasional beer or wine with dinner. I'll get a little bit of home buzz because I'm home. Like what the fuck? What am I gonna do?
Yeah,
But like I've never been drunk in public. Like the drunkest I've ever been was at a house party, and I was at the house that the party was at. So literally, I could have just gone. I could have gone banana sandwich and gone as much as I could because I wasn't going anywhere. I just literally could go back to my room and that's it. But I never understood being super drunk in public. That was never for me. So yeah, it's just
I'm about the same way. I'm not a fan of most drunk people when they get that. You get a little bit in you, you're cool, you're happy, and then there's a major drop off.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
There's a big line that once you cross that line, it's just no return, and then you're just
I don't want to be near you.
Yeah. And I'm an I love you man drunk.
Yeah.
And I'm also take off your clothes drunk. So like I'm those two. So like thankfully I've never been super drunk to the point that I'm doing both at the same time because then I'd be arrested. But I have learned that I am very affectionate when I'm very inebriated. So I guess that's a good thing. It could be a lot worse.
Yeah, you could be a fucking serial killer.
Yeah.
Get drunk and start murdering people.
Yeah, that'd be a little awkward at parties.
I'm a happy-go-lucky when I'm drunk, but I don't like drinking. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, and I always understand, like, when people, I just like the idea, like, I do, like, I'm much like, like coffees and whatnot, like, in food and drinks and everything, like, my wife is a self-trained chef, so I love, like, exploring different meals and different foods and, like, the history and, like, pairings of, like, wine or alcohol and whatnot, and I'm one of those people that loves to try things and try anything once, and, but I can completely understand if people don't do drinking or they're they're vegetarian or they're vegan. Like I always want to respect that. I'm always interested in stuff like that, and I'm sure in some circles, cutting some of those things out of your life is probably very good for your health as well. I mean,
See, what I like about that stuff is I definitely want to talk to you, especially if you have a whole nother belief in what the fuck. Because I want to see the other part. Oh, you're a vegan. How do you do it?
Well, I like to personally, I like to step into the shoes and walk. That's the whole reason why I went straight edge for a year. I wanted to see, okay, what is this like? What is this like? Okay, so I went 24 hours. I got a fear of I'm going to go blind one day. So I went 24 hours blindfolded just to make sure I could navigate my house and my yard and everything. I did it.
Wow.
I was vegetarian
dude.
for like 3 to 6 months, something like that. I just like to try. I was homeless on for the most part by choice, just to know, okay, if I needed to, could I survive? What's it like to be a homeless person on the street? I like to step into shoes and feel their life, not just talk about it. I like to feel what they would feel and just whatever it is, honestly.
I think that's very commendable about you, and I think a lot more people should do that. I mean, on an earlier subject we talked about, like, getting into, this world, or like, how did you decide to like do this? I feel like nowadays we don't let people and kids really explore what they really want. We don't, and this is my opinion, like as a
Yeah.
like as a society, we don't we don't like we say when we were kids, you know, you can grow up to be whatever you want. Well, in reality, we don't treat people like that, unfortunately.
Right.
We don't let people be whatever they want. If we did let people whatever we want, there wouldn't be such a big backlash about, you know, doing certain things or being certain actions or loving certain people doing things or, you know, claiming you are something, one thing or the other. You know, we wouldn't have all of these taboos and these issues and things like that. And that's the unfortunate part is we're not open. We want to say we're open, but we're not open. We're not willing to get weird. And that's the unfortunate part.
Everybody says be yourself, but then they judge you as soon as you're yourself.
Well, not only
Correct.
that, and that's why people are afraid to be themselves. We're 100% like, unless you're being yourself around us, we almost don't want to be around you.
Right.
I want you to be you to your core. Unless you're an asshole, then be you, but somewhere else.
Right. Like and I'm all the same way. Like obviously there's different levels of being obviously professionalism and reading the room and things like that. But you know, the person you're talking to now, I am the same person that I'm like here. I'm the same person that when the cameras are off. I'm the same person that I am when the microphone is on. I am the same thing. Maybe certain things are turned up or turned down a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's still me. I'm not anything more than just me.
There's
yeah, exactly. There's, you know, as much as I love in radio, there's always like this caricature type of person. And like, you know, people have developed
the screen in the dark room and the radio station, you know?
Yeah. There's that character and everything. And then all of a sudden, you know, and then like the microphone's off, they're just like this normal person and everything. It always feels weird to me. Like just be yourself because more people will respect you more if you're just like the same on all the levels.
Yeah. And I mean, beyond, I mean, you can be yourself without fucking ruining anybody's day. You can, you think he's weird? Don't fucking talk to him.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no need.
Well, I laugh about things like, okay, so somebody puts a music video on their YouTube or whatever. To take the time and dislike that, I mean, I get the feedback point, okay, but even let's go a step further. The people that put hateful comments down, like you took the time out of your day to talk shit to this person,
right?
Who's putting probably their heart and soul into whatever they just did.
It's the idea of like, you know, just because we have freedom of speech does not mean you have freedom of consequences. So if you're going to spout out hate and everything, that's fine. You have the right to do that. But guess what? You're also going to get punched in the jaw if you do it. So, you know, taking the time out to insult somebody who put their energy out of something, like you don't need it. If you don't like something, don't complain about it on social media. Don't actively, you know, try to fight them something unless it's something like, you know, obviously bad, racist, sexist, etc. You should voice that. But if it's something like you don't personally like, then just don't interact with it. Don't buy that thing. Vote with your wallet.
Instead of shitting on it, why don't you and like say, even if you did like that genre or whatever he released and you didn't like it because of certain reasons, why don't you just fucking tell him like, hey man, I listened to the song, you know, but I don't like this part and this part.
Here's my feedback versus this is a shit song.
Constructive criticism. You suck ass, dude.
Yes.
Don't ever do this again.
We appreciate constructive criticism.
Absolutely.
But we don't tolerate hate.
Absolutely.
There's two different things. It's two different things. It's like, okay, we tolerate protests. We don't tolerate fucking riots. It's that's the same thing right there.
Yep. And there's, man, it's just, everybody's out here wanting to hate on everybody now with the social medias and shit. It's so easy to hate on somebody.
Well, it's way easier than, for some reason, I don't understand why, because
the haters are your biggest fan.
Well, it takes the same energy to say, hey, this is cool. That it does to say, hey, this sucks. But then most of the stuff you see is hate.
Yep.
Like,
it's also the biggest thing that, like, you know, it's the old mentality of like news or whatnot. Why do we always hear all the bad things?
Negative.
If it bleeds, it leads and everything. And that's understandable. And I get that. But unfortunately, you know, a lot of people just thrive on that idea of just like the negativity and everything, or like, you know, putting stuff out there to just get to feel sorry for them. Like it's almost a disease within itself. Like, you know, I thrive on trying to improve myself, to better myself.
Yep, exactly. Our best show so far has been
It's been this one.
well.
No.
Our most viewed show was the one that everybody was pissed off this guest was going to be on. She was getting so much hate. There was people coming onto our channel that I'd never seen even follow us talking trash to this girl.
What did this person do?
She's like a politician, and she's into the Black Lives Matter movement, and she's trying to get old statues removed, and she flipped off a Trump house a sign and said, hey, this is going to be my holiday card. And people just don't. She's the type of person you either love her or you don't like her because whatever reasons you have, because your ego, in my opinion.
Yeah, but then
because we met her and she was great.
Yeah,
we had a great time.
When I opened the door to her, dude, she had a smile across her whole entire face. I was like, all right.
But my point was, like, our biggest episode is because of the haters.
Yep.
Yeah, because a lot of the people, if you stop and think about it and just kind of discuss things about what's going on, and as much as, a lot of people, think that the idea of like Black Lives Matter is like such a taboo thing, or defund the police is such a taboo matter. If you understand and learn a little bit more and just listen for the moment, Black Lives Matter is just saying that we're not saying our lives are more important than somebody else's. We're saying we want our lives to be just as important as your lives, because our lives are being systematically eliminated and physically eliminated by the powers that be. The idea of defunding the police, while that's a catchy name, it's not saying we're going to get rid of the police altogether. Is that the all the money and everything that is militarizing the police, if you take that money out and then you spread that wealth on like better schools, better resources, therapy, after school things like
train the cops better.
Exactly. Police reform.
Period.
It's
need
that
to be trained properly. They need to be trained in hand-to-hand combat, so they're not afraid. You're subduing someone. You're not trying to shoot them right away. You're not
correct.
I mean, I'm not saying take away their guns by any means, but they need to go for the taser first in certain situations. Obviously, situations vary, and who are we to be even talking about
sometimes
police?
They just tase you just to tase you.
They're scary. Their scariest part of the day is walking up on a car.
Right. It's de-escalating the situation instead of escalating straight to the gun.
De-escalate is number one.
Yeah, it's just all those. If you stop and listen and really hear the people out about what's going on, and it comes back to like why I got into radio and why I got like to do podcasting and like things like that. If you strip everything away and you just listen to the message and you just listen to the tones and you listen to the stories and open your mind a little bit and understand what's going on the other side of the foot, and just because they are fighting for something, it shouldn't affect your life directly unless they are hurting you directly. Why is that being such insulting to you? Why is them saying we want our lives to matter is going to insult you? Yep. Like, what is that doing to you? Like, that's the unfortunate part.
Because nobody's talking about them.
Correct. It's a selfish thing. So like that's the biggest thing at the end of the day. If you just stop and understand what is going on and learn from it, you will learn a lot more. Just a little bit of empathy and common sense. Yep. And that is something that we desperately need, especially with everything that is going on right now. It is very important that we have that. Yes, it sucks of what's going on in the world right now. It absolutely is terrible. People are on the streets, people are hungry, people need help. And our government, unfortunately, is not doing the best job that we need to do, that we elected to do that. So what do? We are voicing ourselves, and we want to vote in the better people, and we want people to truly understand. But you can't change everything. You can't change all the way to the top on one day. You got to start from the bottom. You got to work on your life and then your family, and teach and learn and grow your environment, your direct environment better. So at the end of the day, when it grows and as much as like a virus spreads, goodness and kindness and empathy and intelligence spreads as well.
I think it's like honestly, I think it'll be like a changing of the guards. Okay, so you got this old way of thinking that's still at the top, and once those guys go away, it's changing in all aspects of life too, because now our generations we're working together way more. It's less of a competition and hey, let's get here together.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it was competition.
Yep.
Fuck you, I'm not helping you. I'm going to sabotage you because we're kind of doing the same thing. And now in our everybody I know that I'm around, we're all trying to help each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's going to get to a point where like this is open. Like I'm a firm believer of breaking everything down to rebuild it better, stronger than before. And unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. It's going to suck. It hurts in the middle of it. But think of us and what we're going to get out of this. We'll think of our children. Think of our grandchildren. That what we are trying to prove and blaze a better path and blaze to certain things. Like sometimes maybe the old guard did not necessarily do as well. And I'm sure the next generation, your Gen Z, your Gen Alpha or whatever, the people after this, I'm in my mid 30s, so I'm technically an older style millennial, but
it's our time right now.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what's going on, and maybe we got to break things down, and maybe it's too late for us, but maybe we can do something better for someone else or somebody else. And and if that means we got to sacrifice certain things on our benefit to do better things below us and after us, then maybe we have to,
and the number one thing with that is leading by example.
Exactly. It absolutely is. It's tough. It hurts. It sucks. It absolutely. I'm not downplaying any of this, and I understand everybody's struggles, and we can go on and on about that. But at the end of the day, what we're doing now, we're learning things that maybe now we don't have to repeat again. So unfortunately, it's a trial by fire thing. So if we can get past all of this and still have ourselves together, then we can learn, hey, we can make sure and prevent these things to happening again.
You know what I've noticed, though, since COVID came out, when the pandemic, everybody got scared and shit like that, a lot of the main, like Applebee's chain stores that are like chain restaurants, they're not going there no more. They're going to the fucking mom and pop shop down the street. They're working more in their communities, and they're closing 1,200 Arby's or Applebee's and shit, all that. A ton of those big Chili's, they're all closing stores down because they're going over to the Coney Island and like, hey man, fucking these guys are out here fucking doing it for real.
Well, it's like in a small town like Monroe, you go to these places, you get to know the owners, you get to know the waitresses.
Right.
Now, you can kind of do that at Applebee's, but not really. The waitress, maybe.
You just got the franchise owner anyway. He just owns rights.
But you go to a lot of these restaurants in Monroe and you know the owners, basically. It's like,
come out and shake your hand.
Yeah, he's like, hey, how's everything doing? They're helping bust the tables, and they're helping.
They knew when I got in my accident.
They're true leaders. They're not bosses. They're not all of them, obviously, but the ones I'm thinking of, the places I go, the owners, it starts with them.
Yep.
And your dollar will stretch more, and it means more with those places. And as much as everybody likes the idea of just like accessibility and easiness. Like, don't get me wrong, I've ordered stuff from Amazon, but in the same time, if I can find somebody locally, or if there's a band that I want to support locally, or know that my dollar will mean more to someone else, I think it's more than important to do that, especially right now. A lot of mom and pop shops are not surviving this. A lot of independent venues and things like that are not going to survive this, and it sucks and it hurts. But hopefully, you remember who was really there when the chips were down, and I think that's the places that you need to go and support and vote with your wallet, and vote with your time and energy, instead of trying to tear down and dog something else. Turn that same energy that you were going to do for hate as to love and support and go from there. Because
if it ain't good for you, somebody loves that shit.
Exactly.
Everybody has different taste.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's facts.
Yeah, man. Do you have what do you got to plug in?
Well, of course, we're on break right now, but we're going to be back into the episodes in February. If you are interested in finding the next hot act or the very interesting music, you can go check us out at ontheradarpc.com. You can also find us on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at ontheradarpc. We put out episodes, heck, I don't know, we started 2 to 3 a month, and now we've jumped up to almost weekly, but we feature a lot of phenomenal acts from across the country. Acts are coming through, acts are busting out of the Midwest area, and everywhere and everyone in between. So if you like music and you like talks and you like what I stand for and have featured on this podcast, hey, go check us out at ontheradarpc.com.
Do you since COVID have you had a higher flow of like people coming out and like starting to fine tune their music or
yeah. I think a lot of people have taken this time to create more and fine tune a lot of their stuff, and as much as it is stressful and it is depressing that a lot of these people can't share their art in front of a live audience, they're finding ways to improve it, and I feel like once this is all said and done, I think a renaissance of art and entertainment is going to come out of it, and I'm very excited for it.
The people we seen, that we had artists, we had musicians, we've had it all, and they're all working in the work. Pretty much they locked you down, they started working in the workshop,
improving their trade.
They started sharpening their sword and shit. They're getting somewhere, and everybody that has that dedicated mindset, it seems like they're getting by a lot easier.
What else are we gonna do?
Yeah, what else are we gonna do? We might as well get our hobby and be a fucking professional.
That's why we started Brain Jerk, is because what else are we gonna do? I'm sick of sitting in the house not doing anything.
Yep.
No. You guys are doing phenomenal work and a lot of great connections and everything, and I'm very honored to be a part of this, and I hope for the best for everyone and for all of your listeners and your supporters and everything. I love the idea of the hype up, the morning and the morning and the evening live videos, and just kind of positive reinforcement of everything. I think that's awesome.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. You want to wrap it up?
Oh shit, that's it for episode 43 of Pillar Talk, man. Chris Daher.
Yep, there you go.
Very nice sitting down and talking with you, bro. I hope we do this again sometime when your podcast reaches the top
in person.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We can do it in person so you can sign our table, brother.
I would be more than honored to do that. I appreciate you guys taking the time out and bringing me on, and good luck with everything. And you guys be safe.
All right. Thank you. Have a good night, bro. I love every single one.